everything's a challenge. Does that make sense?
Healthcare is 365 days, 365 nights.
When we're a worldwide brand, I'll still be involved in every single one.
So what do you look for in franchisees?
I'd love to give you a really professional answer to this, right? We were talking to a branding company called Tim Martin in Bolton at the time, and I can't remember because it's a sad story, but my brother passed away around about the same time as we were talking to them. I can't remember exact dates, but I think Tom passed away as we were talking to them. And we went and spoke to them. They came here and saw us, and I was like, this is what we look like right now, but this is as a family and as a business, not how we act. Yeah. We aren't 24/7 professional health. Because if you're in the healthcare sector, it's about people. You're about looking after vulnerable people, looking after the elderly, looking after people with disabilities, people with mental health challenges. You're looking at nurses, care home managers. It doesn't really, although it's a professional service, it's like you have to be it's like it doesn't feel right, the brand. So that's when we were looking at it then, and that's when we've seen a branding agency. But at the same time, my dad got really poorly in 2012 with cancer, and then my brother passed away at the same time, so that's what Tezlom stands for. It's my dad and my brother's name mixed together, Tom and Les. But then it has its brand pillars behind it, because Tim spent quite a bit of time here, met the team, met the franchise network. So you've got transparency, equality, zealous, loyalty, organic and motivation, and each one has a brand pillar behind it and what we stand for as a company.
Why go into the healthcare sector for recruitment?
I think, well, Les, my husband, had been in the same recruitment industry before, being a franchise director, but he'd been more in the industrial, commercial, drivers, that kind of field. And it was in 2008 when there was quite a recession. And he actually proposed the healthcare to the board of directors there, and they dismissed it. So he said to me, I'm sure there's something in this, I'm sure this is the future, I'm sure this is what this is going to be about, because it was healthcare, it was a growth industry at that time. It was like, oh my goodness, what's going to be the kind of business to go into? So healthcare was a natural, it was healthcare education really, but healthcare is 365 days, 365 nights a week. There is the maximum opportunity to do business. And also the big thing for healthcare was, because we've been in franchising before, was in other businesses. We've been in clothing, sportswear, and a lot of,
It's a stock issue, isn't it?
A huge amount of stock you have got to. We had a big, 5,000 square foot warehouse.
But you've been in food as well, and that goes out of date, isn't it? So
yeah.
It's like you've got the date issue with food, and then you've got stock issue with stuff that goes out.
That's it. Yeah. So this was attractive because the recession-proof part of it, and didn't need a big warehouse. They did an office. We started in one small office with 2 desks, 2 computers, 2 mobile phones, and 1 set of drawers. And that was how we built it up.
Did you start in Southport or?
Yeah, just up the road.
Just up the road.
We just had a serviced office up the road, and then in just under a year we moved upstairs to 2 adjoined serviced offices, and then after about 2.5 years we moved here. And we took 1 suite of offices, then 2 suite of offices, and 3 suite of offices, now 4 suites of offices. So we kept growing. Which has been great. Yeah, it's been great.
Talk me through then the core pillars behind the Tezlom. Obviously you said it's part Les, part Tom, but there's those pillars behind it. So talk me through those again in a bit more detail and why you selected them.
We didn't, the branding agency did, but once he said I've met the team, he sort of knew that's what it was like. Transparency is basically just being completely clear with people of where you stand. It's a tough one, that, because you have to be truthful and you have to be clear and decisive with every decision you made, and sometimes those decisions are difficult to deliver.
Yeah.
But transparency, equality, well, anyone, any flavour, any background, any belief, whatever you want, that's what we're looking at.
You can't be discriminatory at all in this world, you can't these days, and especially in the care industry, we've got such a diverse workforce,
definitely. And
we need every single one of them,
And people who work actually in the head office as well,
Zealous, that's quite an unusual word. Not many people sort of use that in today's language. So how about that one? What does that mean to you guys?
It's just been enthusiastic, isn't it? It's been enthusiastic, and I think that's one thing that is having a passion for the business, isn't it?
Everyone that works here is quite passionate about this company.
Yeah.
So that's what I think where zealous standard came from as well, to be zealous.
That's cool.
Loyalty speaks in itself.
Yeah.
I think loyalty goes 2 ways though. loyalty. You can be loyal to everyone, but they're loyal back to you as well. And I think that stems in the head office here. Then you've got your agency workers, then you've got your clients, and then you've got your franchise network and their franchisees and their employees. So loyalty goes a long way to everyone.
Yeah, and customer service, I think that's one of the things, like very much what you mentioned earlier on about when we got started up, and I think what we did was give a good customer service.
Yeah.
Some agencies, they don't get back to the clients with the ask for, staffing cover. We always get back at, if we couldn't cover it, we get back to them and tell them we couldn't cover it, because at least they know where they stand. Or we might be able to offer them an alternative and say, look, really sorry, can't cover that one tonight, but I can do tomorrow. Is that any good to you? Because you could maybe arrange their own staff around that, And then you get that closeness and that your trusting relationship that you're building up there.
It's a massive conversation about identity, that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's about being comfortable exactly who you are.
Yeah.
So then you can be that person with your client, and you can be that loyal where you can talk to them about where you're struggling, what you're not struggling with, what you anticipate. Organic. Yeah, to be organic. Yeah, basically that's where it stems from. We're all organic, and that's what it is really.
Yeah. You just organically grow. Your company should organically grow from within, from the people that you've got there, I think, working with you. And I think it all is like part of the whole brand, isn't it? About what we like is that I like our strapline, which is, at Tezlom, finding places for people who care.
Yeah,
and
good.
You can have different interpretations of that strapline. And I think that's important. We help people grow, we help people develop their skills. Some people don't want to grow. Some people have ceilings, and some people, don't want to change. And that's okay. That's okay. But for Tezlom, we are looking for people who want to grow with the business and develop it with us, aren't we?
Yeah, that's cool.
Motivation. It's one we struggle with. So that's just a reminder that we struggle to be motivated.
Yeah, I think they're a good set of pillars to have behind the brand, and I think it's important to have that in the name.
Yeah.
I love how you've tied it in with the family as well, because it makes it stand out much more against another brand that is perhaps a bit more like 24/7, healthcare.
Yeah.
It could be anybody who has that business. So.
It doesn't have to mean anything to anyone else. The meaning is personal. Personal to us.
But each franchisee, you see, knew either Tom or Les at one point, and some of the new ones don't, but they love to be part of it because they understand what each brand pillar is. The newest one, Marvellous, he knows about the story about my brother and Les, but he didn't attract him to the business. He attracted him to the business as each franchise is a family-run business. You can see from social media, our website and everything we promote, the way we act. And then when he came here and spent a couple of days up here, but he also worked for one of our franchises.
All right.
Yeah, as an agency worker, so he felt it.
Yeah.
He didn't just read about it, he felt it from one of our franchisees.
That's really good that it's all the way through.
Yeah. So then when he felt it and worked for him, then he had the opportunity, that's when he...
Yeah, it's cool. You must be proud of that.
Yeah. It's been great because he's just done the branding for his office, and we've got transparency and loyalty as the brand. No, it's equality and loyalty as the full brand pillar on the wall, because he loves it so much when he found out what it was. So.
What's his image? What's his graphics on the wall? Didn't you get something from him?
Yeah, so where he's born in Africa, his village, there's a big, I can't remember the rock, but we've got a full rock up on the wall. Got a couple of pterodactyls as well. But
yeah, we've seen the dinosaur room.
Yeah, I mean something to him.
That's
We've
cool.
got dinosaurs on Southport Pier here.
So what do you look for in the franchisees? You touched on the some passion and desire, but is there anything else you're looking for from them, whether it's a background or a certain set of skills?
It's quite. Ryan tends to do more with getting the franchisees on board, don't you? Speaking to them.
I think for me,
gotta get a connection, don't you?
I'd love to give you a really professional answer to this, right? And there is obviously some skill sets that you need to look for, because if you don't like talking on the phone, you're probably going to struggle doing this job.
Yeah.
And if you don't like talking to people, and you're not going to enjoy this job. So there's certain elements and skill sets you need to look for. But I have to have an emotional connection with someone when I'm selling a franchise. I need to be on their page. I don't know what the right terminology for that is, but I need to hit it off with them, and I need to feel that they're going to enjoy the rest of the franchisees. And there's just a certain, I don't know what, ilk, is that the right word, of people that work in Tezlom. And yeah, when we're a worldwide brand, I'll still be involved in every single one.
Why do you think that's important to get on with the people?
You've got to spend such a long time as a market
Yeah,
to get into business with somebody. It's a big step.
it's also really stressful. Not because it's a stressful job, but when you're setting up a business, there's new stresses you've never had before. Yeah, so it's not because Tezlom is stressful, but running a business, going self-employed or working for yourself is stressful.
Yeah, it's a big decision. It's
It's
a big change in the your kind of lifestyle and pattern, isn't it?
Yeah,
What you're doing day to day.
So I think that I need to have that emotional connection with them, and the team does, and they will with other franchisees to do the job. That's what I think. So that's part of when I'm looking for talent or what I'm looking for in a franchisee is, yes, I need to look for them certain skills. Can they use a computer? Can they use a phone? Do I think they'll be a good communicator? Do I think they can create relationships? They're all dead important, super important, but I also have to have an emotional tie of why they're doing this, what they're in it for, what's their end game, all them sorts of things, and not just your typical, what's the profit margin, how much I'm going to make, when am I going to make my money back, does it tick a box, thank you very much, no.
Yeah, I think those are important questions to some degree, aren't they? Yeah. But it can't be all about that.
Yeah, like it has to be part of it, not the whole thing. When I feel it's the whole thing, I just say, look, I love your attitude and stuff, but it's not really for us. And I've done it quite a lot.
It's a different kind of caring, isn't it? That's just caring about the numbers, where I get the feeling from you guys, it's more about the people, right?
Well, yeah, if you've ever had anyone go through the care system, and I have, I wouldn't want someone at the forefront who just cared about the profit margins.
Yeah.
I know it's important, and there's people watching this thinking, well, that's the most important thing. Well, yeah, it is important, but it isn't just in care. No, it isn't, unfortunately.
What's a day-to-day like for a franchisee? Talk me through from the first week. What are they actually going to be doing within Tezlom?
Pay your deposit, pay your money, sign your franchise agreement. There's a 4-week boring part of getting everything legal. Office, lease, data protection, all the systems and procedures in place, make sure everything's sort of...
Is that down to the franchisee to do it themselves, or...
No, we support all the way through that. So at that point then, we'll give them like a welcome pack of stuff to fill in, and it's called the onboarding process, and we just have a list of documents and things we need to do, like register for PAYE, all them sorts of things.
I was going to say, just to wind back a little bit further from when you first meet them, we'll always go and meet them in their location where they live. That's the first meeting, and then there's a sort of second stage where they might want more information, but we always ask them to come up here for what we call a discovery day. And that's really useful because they'll come here, they'll spend a little bit of time with everybody around the office, with a bit of compliance, a bit of recruitment, a bit of payroll, a bit with whoever else. And they see a working office, because what we do here is duplicated throughout the network. We still do day-to-day, run an agency the same as all the franchisees do. So it's good for them to actually come and see what it's like, pick up a sort of a flavour, a feeling about the office, talk to the staff for some time, and they can basically get a good understanding of what's involved, because sometimes people could actually say, do you know what, this isn't for me, I can't see myself doing this.
Yeah, we had one the other week.
Yeah.
I had literally one the other week. He paid a deposit, and then when he went through it again with him, he actually said, nah, it isn't for me because of the
time and stuff like that to do it.
Fair enough, isn't it?
But it's better they find out then, isn't it, than make a commitment and then find it's not for them.
But also it's probably quite good to know that you guys know what it's all about. You're still in touch with the market trends and what's happening and the challenges that they might face.
Well, the clients dictate a lot of stuff as well sometimes. If they update something new about their procedure of how we supply staff to them, we're dealing with that client as well as the franchise network.
Yeah.
So we can advise them live of what needs to change. Once they've done that stage, they're doing the 4 weeks, is getting the legals in place, and then the first week is 3 days here. So the first 3 days, if they've no background in healthcare or recruitment, it's injecting healthcare into them basically. What is a care assistant, what is a nurse, what is a support worker.
Yeah.
Prior to, in them 4 weeks, we have the Tezlom Academy, so a lot of people call them operations manuals.
Yeah.
Ours is called Tezlom Academy. And it is an operations manual with a suite of videos of how every aspect of the business works, as well as written and diagrams. And we ask them to do specific courses prior to that, and a lot of that is in and around what is a care assistant, what is a support worker, what is a nurse. And then we have some other companies we use to get them, inject that into the brain, so when they come, they've got some terminology down, they understand some of it.
And there's a whole suite of videos, training videos for somebody who's not got any experience, that they can go into more details about the care industry and, like, infection prevention and control, safeguarding, all that sort of thing as well. So they can watch that in their own time at home, just give them all the details to get.
So when they come to the first 3 days, they've got some idea of what it is, and then the first 3 days are, what is an advert, why do you put that in the advert, what can't you say in an advert, what can you say in an advert, post an advert, reply to people applying to the jobs, and really just getting to grips with recruitment of what you're saying to people on the phone. Yeah. Even give them scripts if they want scripts. We'll teach them how to make the phone calls. We'll do the phone calls with them, and then the second week we'll be building that bank of people to call and book them in for interviews. The following week, one of the team at recruitment will go down and actually sit there and do interviews with them. Some of them are still on the video, but some are face to face, and we'll try and do as many interviews as possible over a 2-day period, and it's just how you deal with them people once they've been interviewed.
Yeah.
The following week, Amanda will go down and do some compliance training with them. Depends on the volume of recruitment. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, sometimes much quicker, but there's a flow of, and then also it's down to individual as well, you see, because some people need more support. So we don't just have one strict framework. If they're struggling with recruitment, we'll go down again, and we'll go down again, and just get it till it's right with them. Obviously we can do a lot of stuff over Zoom, remote as well, because we can help log into the CRM system and do it with them. But we just basically get them into a situation where they comfortably do interviews and comfortably start doing compliance, because I use the same analogy as always. If you want to sell the most amount of cars, what do you need? You need the most amount of cars.
Yeah.
So we have to get them to start doing interviews, getting the right people on board, and we'll hold the hand all the way through that until they get to a point where they've got enough staff that are good and compliant and ready to start working. And in the background, we'll be marketing the area, talking to the clients that we already supply throughout the UK, and doing introductions to those. Say we've opened an office there, start sending the profiles over, start working with them to find out what their needs are, and then start doing some business development training with them.
That's a massive benefit, that, having those national framework agreements in place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it just gives them a footstep on the ladder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So
it's not like a handshake, Ed, where it's just basically here you are as that national framework. Obviously it's a limited company, there's a bit of, but yeah, because we've been going for so long, we've got a really good reputation. It's a quite easy sort of.
Yeah. So what's the biggest challenge for franchisees starting up in a new territory? What do you think is the biggest challenge for them? It's
a funny question to ask that, and the reason being is it's down to that individual skill set.
Yeah.
So everything's a challenge. Does that make sense?
Yeah, from day one it is.
From day one, everything's a challenge. If I did it, nothing's a challenge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's down to that individual, because if you're really good at business development, what's going to be a challenge is your admin. If you're really good at admin, what's going to be a challenge? Probably business development.
Yeah.
It's as difficult as hard as you make it, isn't it? Because the marketplace is there. So it's a case of how good a job can you do to be as good as everyone else. Because we're not the only agency in the world, and there's some really good recruitment businesses out there. So it's just being another spoke in that wheel, but it being a very good one. Yeah. So it's just getting your skill set as high as possible with our help, and then trying to find the best way to help you and get you into that position. Because if you ask me to do a load of admin, we'd probably still be doing nothing in 12 months' time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when someone says to me, what is the biggest challenge? There's always going to be massive challenges in every aspect of the business. It's down to that individual.
Yeah, and I guess that's where you guys step in to help out, and the support team around.
It's literally is that. Like, so if some people are rubbish with the finance side of it, and they can't get their head around factoring, or they can't get their head around payroll, well, they'll spend more time with Roz and Andy than they will with me.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? If they can't get their head around business development, well, they'll spend a lot more time with Ollie and me.
It all depends what they've done before, because such a variety of people from such a variety of different backgrounds with different skill sets. There's no specific, you must have this qualification or that qualification. No, you've just got to want to run a business for yourself and be attracted to healthcare, I think.
I think a lot of people, when they see recruitment, sometimes will think you've got to have done recruitment before to set up a business in that industry.
But it's all about communication recruitment, isn't it? You don't necessarily, and we're not strictly traditional as a big PLC recruitment agency either, so you don't necessarily always want that. I mean, we've now got 3 nurses who are franchisees, never done recruitment before, but there's no trend there to them, it's just happened that way. They've been healthcare used agencies before and that was it, but they've all got their own skills within them, because One of them's not so good at sales, but she's amazing at the back end and compliance. And one of them hates compliance, and she's amazing. I call her the dark horse at sales. So again, you'd say a nurse is a typical example. No, that's wrong. Because yes, they know healthcare, and they actually know more than me about healthcare. But they're individuals in their own right. They're actually better at one thing than the other.
What's the future for Tezlom? What does that look like?
Expansion, growth, expansion, keep growing, keep developing. There's a lot more to do yet, isn't there, in the UK?
Grow the network as big as it can in the UK. We might diversify slightly in the sector, just do more stuff in healthcare in the meantime. We've recently brought permanent recruitment onto the franchise network. We've been doing it for over 12 months, and some of the franchisees have started doing permanent recruitment, which has worked out really well. And that brings on different parts of healthcare, because you end up doing different types of roles, which we might end up changing slightly. And then also anything in the world. I've already done a little bit of market research in Canada. I know it would work there, but I think you need dreams, don't you? But I think reality is, let's get the franchise network off the ground completely in the UK. Make sure everyone's doing really well, everyone's successful, everyone's really comfortable before we start.
It sounds like you've already got built into what you do, though, kind of evolving the brands, in different ways. So you've gone through that brand refresh, a few years ago, but also you're talking there about introducing permanent recruitment into it. So you've got, your processes and everything settled and down for the agency side, but you're stepping it into the permanent side now. So I think it's important for any brand to keep on evolving and moving forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's stupid not to just look at everything and challenge things and add more things into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.